Topping today's news, the government looking to drop the age to begin school from 5 to 4 years old. We hear from the National Security Minister cracking down on human smuggling. The Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister thanks fishermen for their assistance against poachers, and a 20-year-old man dies after falling from the back of a moving truck on San Salvador. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Drano Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's definitely a pleasure to have you join us once again. The Davis administration has tabled a sweeping education bill that would lower the compulsory school age from 5 years old to 4 years old. The new bill would require any child who turns 4 by September 30th to be enrolled in school. The Minister of Education, Glenys Hannah Martin, introduced the bill to Parliament on Wednesday.
Madam Speaker, it is my honor that I beg leave to introduce and have read for the first time a copy of the following: the Education Bill 2026.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Honourable Member. So that the document be brought up? Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the following bill be read for the first time. A bill for an act to modernize, amend, and consolidate the law relating to the education system in the Bahamas. As many are in favor will remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is carried. Order that the bill be read for the first time and tabled.
The bill will also regulate homeschooling, impose mandatory accreditation on private schools, tighten financial oversight of public schools, and introduce a national curriculum. If passed, the Education Bill 2026 would repeal the 1962 Education Act and replace it with a modern legal framework. Minister of National Security Wayne Munro reminded the government has taken a major step in combating human smuggling and other transnational crimes. Speaking during a national security briefing alongside Prime Minister Philip Davis while at Prince George Wharf earlier this week, Mr. Munro outlined new legislation aimed at stopping migrant smuggling operations that are coming through the Bahamas. Munro says the government recognizes that the Bahamas is not only a destination for illegal migrants, but also a transit point for those trying to reach countries like the United States.
You should be aware that we have issues not only with migrants entering the Bahamas, but with migrants being consolidated and smuggled to our neighbors to the north. It has been clear in all that has emanated from the law enforcement officials in the north, they were losing patience. By the passage of the Smuggling of Migrants Act, we took a bold step to address a vexing problem. The capabilities now permit the Defense Force, when they interdict the vessel, even if the persons on it are legally within the Bahamas, but seeking to be smuggled to the U.S., to make that arrest and to call those persons to account.
Munro noted that oftentimes human smuggling is part of a larger network of transnational crime that includes drug trafficking, firearms smuggling, which fuels gang activity.
Human smuggling is a part of transnational criminal activity that attempts to weaken the infrastructure of any country that permits it to flourish. By this bold action, we signal not only to our American partners and neighbors, but to the world that the Bahamas is serious about eradicating human smuggling. The other hallmark legislation mentioned by the Prime Minister, the anti-gang legislation. Trafficking of firearms, trafficking of narcotics is usually a collective effort. When we see the vessel on the sea, there's a lot that goes into it before that voyage begins. There's the financier who finances the voyage. There are the transporters who act to transport the drugs. They're the persons who receive the drugs. And yes, our legislation also punishes the people who enjoy the proceeds of that adventure. The Bahamas now has a suite of legislation that we can stand firm against transnational criminal organizations.
Monroe also commended the work of local law enforcement agencies for their collaboration in addressing national security threats. Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources Jomo Campbell says fishermen across the country continue to play a vital role in helping authorities detect illegal activity in Bahamian waters. Speaking on the issue of illegal fishing and poaching, Campbell noted that Bahamian fishermen are often the first to alert authorities when something suspicious takes place at sea, noting that their reports are critical to success of the enforcement of operations.
And we must also recognize the role of the Bahamian public, particularly our fishermen, who are in most cases the first to provide information when something suspicious is happening. Every time there's a major enforcement announcement, an arrest, a seizure, or a successful operation, within that same day, we begin to receive more and more messages. People ask, what about the poachers coming in from the south? What about this group? What about that group? Let me just state that concerns like these are not viewed as complaints.
Mr. Campbell says those concerns demonstrate just how passionate Bahamians are about protecting their marine resources. He also noted that the threats to the nation's waters are constantly evolving, requiring ongoing cooperation between agencies and continued investment in enforcement efforts.
In all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, protecting our marine resources is more than just enforcement statistics. It is about protecting livelihoods, protecting food security, and it is about protecting a national inheritance that belongs to every Bahamian. For generations, Bahamians have depended on the sea. Fishermen from Abaco to Inagua and from Andros to San Salvador have built their lives and their communities around the sea. Our responsibility is to ensure that those who follow the rules and those who make an honest living from the sea are not pushed aside by those who seek to exploit our resources illegally.
In the meantime, while they are urging you to make reports to the Royal Bahamas Defense and police forces, local fishermen are advised not to engage poachers or illegal charter operators. Instead, leave that job to the professional law enforcement agencies. The widow of Jovenel Moise, Haiti's last elected president, described being shot and wounded during the 2021 assassination of her husband while testifying on Wednesday in the U.S. federal trial of 4 men charged with conspiracy in that case. Martine Moise is the prosecution's first witness following opening statements by attorneys on Tuesday. During her testimony, she accused former Haitian President Michel Martelly and former Prime Minister Ariel Henry of having connections to her husband's killing, allegations that highlight the deep political tensions surrounding that assassination. She told jurors she has filed a complaint accusing Henry in that case. And finally, in this segment, the Bahamas boat captain arrested in the United States last month with an alleged $4 million worth of cocaine has informed the judge of his plans to plead guilty after initially denying charges. Malcolm Goodman, a business partner of former National Security Minister Marvin Dames, had pleaded not guilty last week to possession with intent and importation of a controlled substance after his arrest in Florida on February 11th. On Thursday, Goodman's U.S. attorney filed a motion notifying the court of his intention to change his plea while also requesting additional time to finalize negotiations with U.S. prosecutors. U.S. authorities said roughly 200 kilos of cocaine was found on that boat that Goodman admitted that he was solely involved with smuggling. Goodman faces a mandatory minimum sentence, of 10 years and a maximum sentence of life imprisonment if found guilty. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back following these commercials.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. A 20-year-old man died on San Salvador on Wednesday after he fell off the back of a moving truck in the area of the airport runway. That happened around 4 p.m. in the area of the San Salvador International Airport. He suffered head injuries as a result of that incident. He was airlifted to New Providence for further medical care, but died in hospital on Thursday. The driver has since been officially warned of prosecution. Officers from the traffic division here in the capital were expected to travel to San Salvador to continue the investigation and determine the incident's official classification. Although rarely enforced, there are laws restricting the practice of riding in the back of a pickup truck. It is illegal for a passenger to sit or stand on the truck fender or the tailgate or on the side of the truck while the vehicle is in motion. Passengers riding in the rear of a truck must sit on the bed of that truck while it is moving. The driver permitting a passenger to stand or sit on the fender or the tailgate can result in a fine not exceeding $500. Meanwhile, passengers can be fined as much as $100 if you are found in breach of that law. A woman was robbed last night when she went to a bank on University Drive. Reports say shortly after 11 p.m., the woman told police that she was confronted by a slim-built male wearing long white pants, a dark hoodie with a mask. He produced a firearm and demanded $1,500 from her. The victim complied and handed over the $290 that she had in her possession. The suspect then took the cash and fled the scene in a gray Nissan Cube traveling north along University Drive. The police has consistently advised members of the public not to use ATMs late at night and to try and use the ATM in a well-lit and well-populated area. A 26-year-old man is in police custody after he hit another man in the head with a rock yesterday on Paradise Island, sending him to the hospital. According to police, it was shortly after 4 p.m. Two males who operate a rental company allegedly became involved in a verbal dispute with a third male who also operates a rental company over a customer the third male reportedly lost to them. During the argument, the two men reportedly drove away on a Yamaha scooter. They were allegedly followed by the third male, who was driving an all-terrain vehicle. The ATV collided with the scooter carrying the two men, causing them to crash. One of them sustained serious injuries. However, the second male reportedly avoided being injured, picked up a stone, and struck the male on the ATV in the head, resulting in injuries. Both men who sustained injuries were taken to hospital in serious condition. It seems like there should have been more than one arrest made in that incident. And finally, five-time Olympian Golden Girl Debbie Ferguson McKenzie now serves as the National Student Wellness Ambassador for the country for 12 months, beginning March 2nd. The appointment is a collaboration between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health. The collaboration supports a coordinated national effort to promote healthy lifestyles, nutrition literacy, and positive performance habits among primary and secondary school students. Minister of Education Glennis Hannah Martin said, "Research suggests that the more you educate, the greater the outcome is for student health." The Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darville, noted that 80% of chronic non-communicable diseases can be prevented and are brought on by lifestyles. He said the goal is to educate school-aged children and adults on how to reduce these lifestyle diseases. Well, that'll do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Torino Saunders. It's been a pleasure to have you join us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.